I read Williwaw, the 1946 debut novel by Gore Vidal. Mr. Evans is the skipper. He's 25 years old. He has been at sea since the age of 16 and not seen his family for years. Jean Martin is the first mate. Sergeant Joe Burvick is the second mate. Duval is the chief engineer. He's originally from New Orleans and has a gold tooth. John Smith is a cook and an Indian. I assume Indian means Native American and not from the continent of India. Chaplain O'Mahony is an Irish Catholic priest. Major Barkinson is a West Point graduate who resembles the Duke of Wellington. The question as to whether or not he will be promoted, and by the end of the novel, he is promoted to colonel. Lieutenant Hodges is Major Barkinson's assistant. I don't feel like I know any of these characters too deeply. We don't even know the names of their family members. During World War II, a ship is in the Bering Sea along Alaska's Aleutian Island. The story begins in Andrewski Bay when the ship picks up its passengers. They stop in a city and interact with some prostitutes. They continue at sea and encounter Williwaw, which brings wind and waves and snow. Their ship is turned over onto its side a couple times, but always rights itself back up. They get stuck between some rocks, but manage to wiggle free. A second mate, Burvick, and engineer Duval fix a ventilator. Duval falls overboard. Burvick does nothing to help him and lies that he saw it happen. They arrive in Arunga and the book ends. I remember watching interviews with Gore Vidal. They came across as a witty, snarky fellow, so I'm a little surprised to find this story is written in such a plain style. It's a plain old hamburger with nothing on it. It's written in a very straightforward style. There aren't a lot of metaphors or insights into the sailing life. The sentence structures are simple, and the book ends with the simple line, "They walked back to the ship." I can visualize seagulls circling around in the gray sky overhead. That is about as colorful as the prose ever gets. I can imagine a high school class reading it, but it's not really ascending the level of high literary fiction. You might assume this book is about man versus nature, but it's really more about man versus man. The first theme of the book is the petty jealousies of the crew members. They live in close quarters and all seem to enjoy irritating one another. The second theme of the book is how people cover their own ass. The skipper and Burvick agree not to talk about Duval falling overboard. And Major Barkinson absolves himself for requesting the ship's journey through the Williwaw. The book does provide some education in the parts of the ship. It describes the wheelhouse, where the ship's steering wheel is located, and the forecastle, which is the forward part of the deck, and the bulkheads, which are partitions within the ship. Most of the novels I read are too long, but this novel feels a little too short. It was a roller coaster to read this novel. At first I thought a World War II novel by Gore Vidal didn't sound that interesting, but then a couple chapters into it I was really enjoying it. But then the plain text of the novel really kind of dragged it back down for me. Overall, I give the book a 5 out of 10.